What's happening, party people? I have finally made it. About a month after I was headed here, but hey, we are here. We're going to get started helping these people in Chicago, in Chi-Town. Let me go ahead and put up a list of all the people that I have on my schedule to help in this area. Most of these folks only need about 3 or 4 hours. Some of them need a lot more, but the big project is Sebastian's manual conversion and improvements on his T5R, his black sedan. He has a few things to do on his S70. Then Jake has a cylinder head that needs to be replaced on his car. Jack's got several things he need to do. I need to pull dashes, do brakes. We got a lot that's going to be going on here in Chicago. Now, when we were in Cincinnati, we were not able to complete all of our legal matters. So unfortunately, we're going to have to scat for a day or two. End of the week, probably leave here Saturday afternoon and return early Tuesday morning. When I say early, I mean like 10 o'clock ish, something like that, and continue working the Chicago area until we have these people on this list taken care of. Whatever you need, we are here to take care of it. Then after that, we're headed to Nebraska, and on the way there, we're going to stop and help Don with his AC situation on his 850 that was manual swap a couple years ago. So that's where we're at. That's what we're going on. I just see a text from Sebastian. Sebastian, thank you, my friend. Good morning. And we're just going to get it going. And today's video, I did something that I rarely do, but as I travel around, I have somewhat of a, I guess you could say, soft spot for people that do not have their vehicle running. If you are on this planet and you have a Volvo and it ain't running, and that's really your only transportation, and you're borrowing somebody else's vehicle, trying to stay on the move and take care of life, and you contact me, I'm going to do my best to come get you back on the road. Because here in the USA, vehicles are almost a sign of liberty. It is hard to maneuver in the US without a vehicle unless you're in one of these big cities. You can Uber around, which is expensive. You can bum rides and catch buses and trains and stuff like that. But there's nothing like having your own vehicle to deal with this spread out country. Unless you're in these big cities, Chicago, Dallas, Pittsburgh, New York, Atlanta, something like that, the public transportation just don't cut it. If I lived in Little Rock, Arkansas, which I have, there was no way I could function as a competent adult depending on the public transportation. There just ain't no way. So I had a doctor's appointment through the VA, which was somewhat of a critical appointment that I had to get to Tuesday. And I decided to try to help these folks here in Houston that needed a vehicle fix because the young guy didn't have one running. And that unfortunately kicked me into an overnighter. I worked till, man, you'll see on the video how long I worked till. But got the car running. Seems like everything's fine. And I moved on, did make it to my appointment on time. So that's where this video's at. I hope you enjoy it. I didn't have time to record all the clips I wanted to, but I recorded enough to, I guess, make it worth watching. Now, one thing I kind of cringe to is when I show up to install an engine with someone at their location, they seldom have the ability or have taken the steps to make sure that engine is good. It happens to the best of them. As you've seen in the last video, pulled the water pump off, there was rust in there. You know, that's indication that somebody's running water. When somebody's running water, they're playing coolant roulette. When they're playing coolant roulette, usually they lose and they blow a head gasket. And now I'm sitting there looking at an engine that I may be putting in that may have a blown head gasket. I don't even know if it'll run that long before it'll pressurize the coolant system in a way that starts damaging coolant system parts. When these cars have a blown head gasket, they run well. They pressurize the coolant system, they start breaching the weak link. They'll blow a heater core, replace that. They'll blow a hose going to the radiator, replace that. They'll blow a radiator, replace that. They'll blow a coolant reservoir. You know, you just go from one thing to another with these cars with breached head gaskets. I got a video linked in the description that lets you know how to check your engine to see if it has a blown head gasket. But if you're playing coolant roulette, there's a good chance it's got a blown head gasket. So don't play it. So anyway, that is something that he dealt with. We got the engine replaced. We wanted to test it. Couldn't get a tester to test it. The only way to really test that is with the engine running or with a leak down tester. I wanted to pressurize the cylinders and make sure there wasn't a breach in the head gasket. Couldn't do it. Had to toss it in, hope for the best. And it seems like they were okay. So that's what happened. That's what's going on. I appreciate you watching. Thank you for your support. And let me get out of here and get to work. Welcome to Hanging Out with Robert. That's me. This video contains things that I encounter throughout the day. If for some reason I complete a task and you would like to see the details, you can click on the link in the description area below. This video also contains tips and tricks that I learned throughout the years. I plan on leaving this video accessible for about 30 days. After that, you can view it through my Patreon account. Thank you very much for watching. I am back. Time to get cracking. Going to kick off the Tinker Day by getting all this wiring off this engine. I think everything on it is identical to the other one, but we left the wire harness in the car. We're not sure what's going on with this wire harness, so we're going to disconnect it from here. Hopefully the PCV is good, because I don't think we're going to deal with all that. But I'm going to take these clamps off of this coolant stuff, take all this stuff off the engine, then move the engine over there and move over the timing parts and the timing belt cover. This cover on the inside is broken right there, so we're going to put the other cover over there. So let me get this wire harness off and move from there. If I could get it off from under this band. This band's not real tight, so it shouldn't be a problem. I actually kicked off this morning with a run to the salvage yard to pick up this bracket because I broke it yesterday when I was lifting the engine out of the vehicle. It mounts there. This morning, I went by the salvage yard, picked up this bracket that I broke, and to my surprise, I checked my receipt because I thought things seemed a little pricey, and they charged me for a computer control module, $54 instead of an engine bracket. So I need LKQ to make that right. I should have checked my receipt when it seemed to be a little high, but it was hot. I was waiting a long time to check out, you know, all the right formula for making that mistake with me, and she made a mistake and I made a mistake. Anyway, we reused all of his timing components. We changed the crank seal because there was a lot of oil down under the crank. We changed over the tensioner for the serpentine belt, and we got the timing set. We're getting ready to do a leak down test, and the parts store gave him a compression gauge instead of a leak down testing gauge. So we got to go back and get that and continue on our journey here. Got some more prep work done. Got that crank sensor off so I don't bust that. I'm getting ready to put the bracket on the back of here, but I really need to put the cam sensors on first. So I put that cam sensor on. I'm gonna put the bracket on. I got the timing stuff all done. Then I'm gonna come over here and pull this torque converter off and make sure that's set on properly. We know that didn't go well last time I pulled the engine on the car, but it's gonna go well this time. Then we got this engine mount here. I'm gonna pull that and put the good engine mount in. And then we're going to do a leak down test on this engine because it's got rust in there, evidence of running water. Hopefully it'll pass the leak down test and we'll drop it in. If it doesn't pass the leak down test, I don't know, we'll probably drop it in anyway. So I don't really know why we're doing that, but it's a good thing to do. At least you'll know whether you're putting a good engine in or not. Let me keep moving. Check the torque converter, pulled it off. It was not set right. When it's set right, it's set back that far. It was almost flush up here. So I pulled it and I seen the keys was at 10 and 4. And I looked at it, I was at 5 and 11. So I turned it back, wiggled it around in there, and it finally fell all the way in place. So the torque converter is properly set now. I'm going to go ahead and replace this busted mount. There it is. Much better. No markings. We wanted to confirm that the donor engine did not have a bad rear main seal, and it is dry as a bone. I leave sleeping dogs lie. It does have a wasp bed in it, but no evidence of a rear main seal leak. Now the engine that was in the car, yeah, it also had a rear main seal leak. Contributing factors. So let me put this flex plate back on. This one skinned the engine a couple times. Right there, the scrape mark. Right there, the scrape mark. So I might put this other flex plate on there from the other car. The welds don't stick up as much. It looked like it nicked there, it nicked there, it nicked there, it nicked there. So I think I'm gonna go back with this flex plate. After a couple failed attempts to get a leak down tester, we are bypassing that. I'm gonna go ahead and drop this engine in. We have the heat shield off, the mount up here on, cam sensor on down there. I'm going to go ahead and put this strap on here and get it on that crane and get it in this engine bay, bolted in, because time is flying. I think it's like 7 o'clock right now. Correction, 7:30. We have the strap to the mount under a couple of screws. We should be good to go to lift this engine up, get it in place. About done hooking everything up, was dropping the fan in, and the passenger side radiator mount is busted away from the radiator. The radiator is hanging down this side about 2 inches, and the hook doesn't have anywhere to hook onto because the hook is busted off. The other side is okay. The mount is up there and okay, and the hook is hooked in the spot okay. And at 228, we got a coolant leak, folks. The hose going to the intake banjo bolt. Not sure how it happened, but it is leaking. I'm gonna pop the serpentine belt off, take the power steering reservoir off, move it out of the way so I can reach that hose and replace it. I don't know any other way to reach it properly, get it replaced. Leaking on to the alternator. We are, whoa! All right, do it one more time. Up. All right, now try to start it. All right, let me put a jump box on it. Go ahead, shut it off. Let me find my jump box.
No. It's not like when you jump it with a cable.
All right, hold up.
It started to turn over a second ago.
Yeah, then you let it. You should have held it until it ran, but you stopped, and then it died, and then it probably flooded the car. So the car is probably flooded now.
Yeah.
Sounding pretty good, looking good.
You see how that's coming right there?
Yeah, it'll probably do that 15, 20 minutes or 50 miles, whichever comes first. I would drive it for about 100 miles, then change the oil. Sounds good.
That lower idling is normal.
Well, it idled down. All appears to be well. We're shutting this down, packing it up. Well, folks, I worked all night. Left my work site about 5. Drove about an hour and a half. It's 6:50 now. Pulled over. Tried to freshen up a little bit with some of these wipes and stuff. But I just pulled into a Love's. I'm going to take my first Love's shower. Because I smell worse than roach spray right now. It's bad. But I picked me up a breakfast, got my gas. I'm going to take me a shower after I eat my breakfast. Drink a little bit more of my coffee. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I'll let you know how it goes. I'm just going to I'm thinking about taking my whole bag in, but I think I'm just going to take the clothes I'm going to put on. So we'll see how that goes. I'll report back. Well, that was it. Started off that Sunday about 9:30 in the morning at the junkyard. Didn't have time to record junkyard clips. I got a couple of parts, but most importantly, that engine bracket. I tell people all the time, do not try to lift that engine with that engine bracket. It ain't strong enough. And I had a lapse in judgment, maybe because it was 142 degrees and I was hot and tired. I tried to lift that engine up. It was holding, but I needed to shake it loose from the transmission. And when I grabbed that seatbelt strap and shook that thing, man, that freaking bracket snapped. The front of that engine fell down to the mount. That was it. I was only up about an inch or two off of the engine I was pulling out. And then the replacement donor engine did not have the bracket, so they had probably broke that one. So I had to go to the salvage yard on my dime, pull that bracket on my dime, and then LKQ overcharged me on the bracket. So I got to try to find that receipt, send it to them so they can hopefully give me $35 back or whatever. It's sad when you don't look over your seat. You know, I'm also bad with going through drive-through or pick up my food, checking the bag, make sure my stuff's right. I'm bad with that. I could look in the bag and miss the stuff that they miss. So anyway, I got that guy's car running. I got on the road. I made it back to Cincinnati safely, and life goes on. So now I'm here trying to help the people that I can here in the Chicagoland area. So again, thanks for your support. Thumbs up, thumbs down, comment, share. You know, support me if you can. I unfortunately do need the support. So thanks a lot. Have a great day.